Welcome back to the news at 10. The predominant theme of the first session of the United Nations Environment Assembly is Sustainable Development Goals and the Post-2015 Development Agenda. Now, this is designed to shape discussions on the formulation of a set of targets that would succeed the Millennium Development Goals. Well, Nigerian delegates are at the Assembly, and our correspondent Ayola Kazim has been asking them what the nation expects from the meeting.
To item 2A.
During the various sessions, countries and continents will be pushing their agenda forward and negotiating with others for a better deal. Nigerian representatives are joining others in the African bloc to push for better chemical management.
Nigerian interests to be situated within the African position and the position of the G77 plus China. We all have similar problems and challenges across various countries. So we will be putting a lot of emphasis. However, while we have challenges, say like issue of lead, poisoning, oil pollution, we will be stressing to ensure that the resolutions that are adopted actually reflect our interest and capture our major concerns.
In the end, like all things that join us in United Nations, and we all know, is the political factor. Because in the end, everything is politics, and politics is power. And power leads to influence and to interest groups.
The latest report from the United Nations Environment Programme on Small Islands Developing States shows that climate change-induced sea level rise continues to be the most pressing threat to the island's socio-economic development.
Samoa, what is it?
Here in Nairobi, these island nations are asking the developed nations to be fair and willing to share their wealth in the move to mitigate the impact of climate change.
Consuming is fine. We're forgetting that after consuming, there is a waste to deal with. We forget that before consuming, the extractive industries have been destroying forests, have been mining, have been extracting elsewhere at the cost of these people. Now, if those people where the mines were actually benefiting from it, then I would say, okay. But when we look at the cases around the world, the local people don't really benefit from those extractive industries. So the question I beg today is for those countries and for those large corporations which are registered in those countries to become more socially responsible.
Looking ahead, the Nigerian Environment Minister believes this meeting will help greatly in the coming days.
The outcome of these meetings, including this assembly, will help shape Nigeria's position for Mr. President's participation at the UN Secretary General's Climate Summit in September 2014.
At the moment, delegates are going into closed-door meeting to discuss their proposals. On Thursday, the high-level segment meetings will open, and that's when the negotiations and the politics, if you like, really come to play. From the United Nations headquarters in Nairobi, I'm Ayola Kasim reporting for Channels Television News.
First Bank.
Hello and welcome to Business News. I am Adeshewa Josh. A multinational Chinese steel company, Panga Group of Company, has expressed willingness to invest millions of dollars into the nation's steel sector. This was part of resolutions reached after a meeting of officials of the group and the Executive Secretary of the Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission, Mrs. Saatu Umar. Mrs. Umar promised the Chinese delegation of the federal government's commitment to the provision of attractive incentives to boost returns on their investment. The Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NETI, has released Nigeria's oil and non-oil revenue figures between the year 2007 and 2011. The chairman of the agency, Mr. Ledun Miti, pegged the figures at about 30.09 trillion naira during a public presentation of fiscal allocation and statutory disbursement and solid minerals audit reports in Abuja. According to Mr. Miti, 23.7 trillion naira was realized from the mineral sector, while 4.014 trillion was generated from non-mineral revenues. Well, in the bid to strengthen the financial market, the Securities and Exchange Commission has reiterated its commitment to working with the Central Bank of Nigeria through the new administration. This was one of the resolutions at the Q2 Capital Committee meeting today. Also, the Director General of the Commission, Ms. Aruma Ote, explains that one of the SEC's priority is to address the direct payment of investors' dividends into their bank accounts.
It's important that we continue to work closely with the central bank to ensure that we tackle issues that are of mutual importance. We highlighted some things that we think the central bank can do, which can better support the capital markets and support investors who essentially we work for. One of them we mentioned is clearly that the issue of dividends, particularly for retail investors, can be tackled if all banks certainly allow us to have allow retail investors to have dividends going to their savings accounts as well as their current accounts. We know some banks already do this. We hope that the central bank will get to a point where it can direct all banks to allow this to happen.
As the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Ms. Aruma Ote. Reactions are pouring in following the announcement to review guidelines for Bureau de Change operators in the country by the Central Bank of Nigeria. A stockbroker, Sam Ndata, believes that the action will enable the operators weed out quacks, leaving room for true professionals to handle the business. And finally, to the Nigerian stock market now. The rally at the market continues as the all-share index edged up by 0.59% to close at 41,987.55. Bolaji Akinwale has more.
Hello there. The rally at the equities market continued on Wednesday as the all-share index edged up by 0.59% to close at 41,987.55. Leading the gainers back is Dangote Cement with 6 naira 75 kobo. It was followed by Mobil with 1 naira 43 kobo and Wapco with 1 naira 35 kobo. On the laggards list, Owanda dropped 3 naira 1 kobo, while Nigeria Brewers and PZ lost 3 naira and 2 naira each. Once again, Transcorp tops the activity chart, pulling 576.9 million shares ahead of Wapik Insurance and Japol Oil. At the end of the session, over 978 million shares were recorded at the value of 8.4 billion naira, exchanged by investors in 5,983 deals. That's it on the stock market report. I'm Bolaji Akinwale.
And that's business news this hour. The news at 10 continues in a moment.
First Bank.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's Super Eagles qualify for the round of 16 at the FIFA World Cup despite loss to Argentina in Group F. That's on sports. Do join us here.